since I always get these comments no matter what I say, no, this is not my tier list. I had zero influence on the placements in this video. This entire tier list was created by the SSF2 Union / Backroom, which is a group of competitive players and other community members, and I had no part of. Since last video, even though I said that, I still got comments like this. Alright, with that out of the way, this is the newest SSF2 official tier list that has been released by the SSF2 Union. So here's what it looks like. You can go ahead and pause the video and analyze it for yourself if you'd like before I go into details about who's been changed the most, and if you want a quick glance on the other two tier lists to compare it, here are the other previous patches as well. And you may have already noticed this one actually has more characters since it's the first tier list to include Pichu. So for those of you who don't know, the SSF2 Union is pretty much the new SSF2 Backroom. It's just a way for the community members to get together and discuss competitive things such as this tier list. I'm technically in that group, but I had no part in actually making this tier list, so I feel like I'm pretty unbiased in my ratings and opinions, and I can pretty much just disagree with any parts I don't like and agree with others. However, I'm going to try and talk a little bit fast and might skim over some parts on characters who weren't really changed in the last patch and haven't really moved much. And, I'm trying to fit in 40 characters into this one video, so bear with me here if it's a little bit fast. However, if you do want me to go into more detail, I am considering doing my own tier list video series where I could go into more detail on what I think of each character. But considering 1.2 might come out soon, I might not do that. Last time I started a series, it got cut off by beta releasing, so we'll see. But yeah, to start it off, we're going to start with the bottom tier characters according to them in F tier. So, the worst character in the game according to the Union is Game & Watch. Pretty much nobody plays him. I think that's one of the biggest factors. Literally nobody plays him. Overall, really not a great character, has a lot of flaws. Not really great approaches, not great KO power, very light. His recovery's not bad though, and he does have a really nice down air, which comes out very quick. But yeah, unfortunately people consider Game & Watch to be the worst character in the game now. Black Mage, the last patch, was also in the lower tier, and he was kind of low to mid tier in the patch before that. He's kind of always been lower tier since 9B, because back in 9B, Black Mage was a really fun character, very good. I don't see pretty much anyone play Black Mage, but back in 9B, he was really popular, which is part of the reason they're actually working on reworking Black Mage and his moveset. I talked about that in my last video. So those are the only two characters they have in bottom tier for like the unviable characters. After that, we move up to the low tier in D tier. Starting off D tier at the third worst character is Sandbag. Now, if you don't play SSF2, I wouldn't be surprised if you're confused by this. I think the main reason Sandbag is so down low on this tier list is he's really stiff on the ground. His movement kind of sucks. Like, there's some cool tech you can do with it, but like, he's just so slow and stiff on the ground. So I think that's probably the biggest problem. And then right after Sandbag is, to me, the most surprising character of all, being Goku. Goku is considered bottom 5 in this tier list. Despite being considered the best character in the first one, they did nerf the up B, it's a lot harder to recover, but considering he already has that float, like, it's not that big of a deal. Personally, I do not have Goku near bottom 5, I probably have him a little bit higher than that, maybe a tier or two, but I guess he's considered the fourth worst to them. After Goku is Jigglypuff, who really hasn't been changed much between the patches. I believe she got a couple small buffs that kind of helped her in the air, but really she's not that great still. Puff feels a little bit underwhelming. After Puff is Pichu, the newest character to Super Smash Bros. 2. So like, he has really good potential, because that discharge state, once you get past 50%, you get like buffed specials. That's kind of nice, but also like, you're just so light. Pichu dies really early, you still damage yourself at an alarmingly fast rate, so like, you're getting to that higher percent where you die earlier much faster. So I can kind of understand why Pichu's down low here. However, I will say a really good Pichu who's playing well can absolutely destroy people. Like, the combo game with that character when you learn him and actually hit your moves is ridiculous. After Pichu is Bandana D. Don't have too much to say, even though that is my channel mascot, and it's not too surprising. Bandana D has always been about this place in the tier list in the last two. They give him buffs every now and then, but like, the buffs, like, they changed his dash attack and his downer, and I think the buffs actually did help him. But just like, all the characters above him are just like better, I guess. I don't know, it's hard to describe. After Bandana D is Sonic, who's still in bottom 10, unfortunately. I'm not totally sure why people have Sonic this low. I think Sonic's really good. The buff to his down air, making it a spike, was really nice this patch, so now he has forward air and down air. Although, to be fair, it doesn't change it that much, since most of the time you're gonna get that down air spike. You could have forward aired anyways. However, I feel like Sonic's sort of in the same place as Bandana D, where they're not bad characters, they're totally viable, but just not like quite as good as the characters above them. Especially the next character being Isaac. Now this is arguable, right? People have very varying opinions on Isaac, But I think Isaac is really good. Like, I'd probably put him about 10 or so spots above where he is right now. I think they're super underrating Isaac's potential. I definitely think part of it is the fact that Isaac was so overrated originally. People thought Isaac was like one of the best characters when he's more like just a mid-average character. So people are starting to put him lower and lower every tier list. After Isaac is ZSS, who got some really nice changes. I love that neutral air, her combo game is insanely good now. But even with these buffs, there's not really too much to say about ZSS, and not much has really changed overall with their tier placing. Same goes with Luffy, although he is slightly higher than he was before. I guess the biggest reason for that is that grabs now actually usually beat out attacks, so Luffy, being a command grab based character, can actually do a lot better in some of the worser matchups. And that is the end of low tier. We are now moving on to the mid tier characters, which is incredibly big. Like, they kind of smushed all the characters into mid tier. Like, yeah, I don't know where these characters go. Smushed them into mid tier. So starting off mid tier, we have Naruto, which is an incredible glow up for the character, being ranked as the worst character in the last patch, all the way up to mid tier. That's a great jump. I can totally understand why. Naruto got a ton of buffs, and honestly is a really fun character right now. He still has some of the same issues. His recovery is pretty bad. So I think this is a really good spot for Naruto. He definitely feels like a mid-tier, maybe lower mid-tier character. After Naruto is Mega Man, which is a really weird character. Like, nobody plays Mega Man, sort of like Game & Watch, or at least I don't see many people play Mega Man. But he's not bad, and I honestly want to say he's probably better than where we're putting him, but like, I just can't say that for sure. No one really brings out that potential in him. Probably gonna blow your minds, but after Mega Man at 27th is Fox. It actually is kind of crazy to me how far they put Fox down. Like, yeah, Fox was nerfed, he's not quite as good, he doesn't have that insane chain grab. Yeah, he's in mid tier, not low and bottom tier, which makes sense, but like, dang, they're putting him pretty low. However, I'm not really a Fox main, I've not really put that much time into him, so I wouldn't know for sure. So it's kind of strange to me how low they're putting Fox. After Fox is Bowser, and I don't have too much to say about Bowser. He's kind of been in the same like mid-lower tier area for the entirety of the game. Yeah, he can destroy people in one or two moves, but also he's super slow and gets comboed for days. After Bowser is Ness, which I think is a pretty fine spot for him. Ness definitely feels like a bit of a mid-tier character. That recovery is obviously not great, never really been great in any Smash game. Not really much of a change. Kind of the same thing, down throw, forward air. After Ness is Yoshi, one of my favorite characters in the game. And although Yoshi hasn't really technically moved that far on the tier list, to me it does feel kind of weird having Yoshi this. I've always considered Yoshi kind of underrated. It's kind of like Yoshi in every game where it's like, everybody says like, oh, Yoshi's underrated, but then nobody plays him. And after Yoshi is Bomberman, which is kind of surprising to me. I did not expect to see Bomberman above Yoshi by any means. Actually, I did not expect to see Bomberman above like any of these characters, like maybe even Naruto. But I don't know, I've never really found Bomberman to be a great character, and I'm a little bit surprised they put him this high. After Bomberman is Sora, and I actually really like this placement for Sora. Sora is pretty much right in the middle of the tier list, but to me Sora feels like a very well balanced character. He has great combo game, a good recovery, although not unbeatable. He has high risk, high reward moves, and he has an interesting moveset with his down B. So I think this is a fine spot for him. After Sora is Pit. Pit was ranked pretty low. I think he was bottom 5 in last patch. Like, Pit's not terrible, he does have that sick combo game. Personally, I'd probably put Pit a little bit lower. It feels very weird having Pit above a character like Sora, who I feel like has way more options. But an even bigger come-up story than Pit is Wario being placed as 20th, right in the middle, after being placed as 4th worst in the last tier list. I did think Wario was underrated in the last patch, so I think this is closer to where I would have originally placed him. And honestly, I'm just going to say I actually do think Wario could be around this place. He has great options, his combo game is very good, recovery is not bad, and Wario has really good air mobility too. After Wario is Donkey Kong, which kinda has the same problems as Bowser. That being said, DK has fallen quite a bit since last patch, which is understandable. But even though Donkey Kong is a worse character, he still feels pretty good. I think he should be a couple spots higher, honestly. Donkey Kong is the type of character where you can kill somebody in like 5 hits, but then also just get comboed to death the next stock. After Donkey Kong is Mario, and Mario really just has been in this spot pretty much the entirety of beta, right in the middle towards high. Not really been changed much either. I'd honestly say Mario's probably one of the most balanced characters in the game. He's got very good strengths, and he's got a weakness. His recovery's not great. He doesn't have huge disjoints. After Mario is surprisingly Kirby. I was very shocked when I saw people were putting Kirby this high. That being said, I've always been a proponent of Kirby being a better character than people think. I never thought of him as a bottom or low tier character ever. I always thought he was a very strong character. So yeah, Kirby's actually pretty good in SSF2 right now. Not in a bad spot. He's getting resprited next patch, which is kind of cool. And after Kirby is another huge comeback story, which is Luigi. Originally being ranked as the second worst character in the game, is now placed in the top half of the characters in the game. Luigi got a lot of buffs, so again, kind of like Naruto, I'm not that surprised. He's one of the characters where a forward air, a down air, an up B sweet spot, or a side B will just kill you. You can start combos with pretty much every move. You got yourself a decent character. Moving up to B+, we have Chibi Robo. Chibi Robo is a weird character. He has one of the best projectiles in the game. Combine this with the fact that he has a pretty big grab and a safer recovery. He's not a bad character by any means. He does have some problems though. First of all, he's pretty light, so he dies fairly early. He also has a lot of issues with Pocket not working properly, where it'll just be buggy when you throw the projectile back out. But overall, yeah, not a terrible character. Now Pac-Man, he's actually made a huge come up, like a lot of their characters around this area. Honestly makes a lot of sense. Pac-Man is really good in SSF2. Hydrant is very impressive. The fact that you can re-grab the fruit is very good for combos. And we've already seen a couple really good Pac-Man players do well. I was actually surprised we didn't see Pac-Man high up in the last couple tier lists. So honestly, this is a really good spot for Pac-Man. Next is Samus, who did in fact get nerfed. But not only did Samus get nerfed, a lot of Samus players have either stopped playing SSF2 or kind of dropped the character. So it's hard to say for sure, although I think, yeah, she's still a solid character. After Samus is Ichigo. Ichigo's one of those characters who, again, wasn't changed very much. He's always really been around this area, so I don't really have much to say. He's pretty much in the exact same spot. Maybe a little bit worse than he was before, just a lot of other characters got buffed and are considered better than Ichigo now. Next, at 11th, is Link, and I have a lot to say about him since I've been playing him a lot lately. Honestly, I think he's a little bit underrated at 11. I consider Link to be potentially top 5, maybe even top 4 or 3. Like, he's really, really good. Any character with projectiles and a disjoint is already a fairly strong character. I will say Link has some issues, like his recovery not being that good, and some of his moves are a little bit slower and laggier. But overall, I think Link should actually be higher. Next is Captain Falcon, who is actually top 10 despite the fact that he's inside mid-tier according to the tier list. He's pretty much always been fairly good in SSF2. Good combo game, great KO power, obviously, and very fast dash dance, so he's got a good neutral. So yeah, I can easily see Falcon in top 10. I think this is a fine placement. Now moving on to high tier, we get to number 9, Lloyd, which is probably the first character I really don't understand the placement for. Yes, Lloyd was really good in the last patch. He's definitely a strong character. Again, projectiles plus disjoints, sort of like Link. His recovery is noticeably worse than most characters, being pretty easy to gimp in the right spots. And although he was second best in the last patch, he got quite a few nerfs to his kit, including his Demon Fang being significantly laggier, so you can't just be going out there throwing projectiles like all the time to zone people out. That being said, his dash attack is still crazy good, he kills early, so like I would probably put him a couple spots lower, but not too far lower. Next at 8th is Tails, which is funny because Tails was actually the number 1 character from last patch. They didn't kill the character, they didn't really hard nerf anyone last patch, they just slightly nerfed some characters and then super buffed others. I'm not exactly sure why he's in this spot. I actually consider him to be a little bit worse than top 8. I'd probably put him around like the 10 to 15 spots, but that's just my opinion. Moving on, the number 7 character is Marth, and this is probably a shock to nobody because Marth has been high to top tier in pretty much every patch of SSF2, like 9B through beta. After Marth is a fairly surprising character. At number 6 is Meta Knight. I'm not really sure why Meta Knight's at number 6. He's not a bad character by any means, but I feel like every patch in SSF2, pretty much nobody plays Meta Knight, but everybody seems to assume Meta Knight's very good. At number 5 is Falco, which makes sense to me. Falco is very strong. Laser is like ridiculous. You can just win a bunch of neutral exchanges with short hop laser. And then his combo game's crazy. He can kill you super early. His recovery's not great and he gets comboed pretty hard. But considering how many times you can win neutral and get a kill off of it, it's pretty much even at that point. Alright, next moving on to top tier, which is probably the one I have the most issues with personally. At number 4 is Zelda. Zelda was considered like barely high tier, pretty much mid tier last patch, and she has a lot of aerial kill power. I do think she's a little bit slow sometimes, like a lot of her moves come out slow, like up tilt, forward tilt. She is strong, but like I don't totally know why she's number 4. And then at number 3 is Pikachu, which is really weird to me. I do not know why Pikachu is number 3 on this list. I don't know if there's like new Pikachu players coming out here just destroying tournaments or whatnot. After Pikachu is Peach, and this, again, another character who was mid-tier last patch, but suddenly is a top-tier character. That being said, I can understand Peach more than Pikachu and Zelda. Peach always had really high potential with a lot of her moves, like her combo game especially, and her edge guarding. And that's not even mentioning the down smash. The down smash damage is ridiculous. So yeah, Peach, I guess I can understand why she's up here. That kind of makes sense. She's a very good character. So lastly, we get to number 1, being Sheik. Sheik, I do know, actually did in fact get buffed. So that's one of those characters that was not really considered super good last patch, but did get hard buffed. Bouncing fish kills really early. Sheik can combo pretty much out of everything. Her recovery's fairly safe. Needles are a very good projectile. And honestly, overall, Sheik is very good right now. So I can kind of understand why she's up here. Alright, anyways, that is the finalized tier list for update 1.1 in SSF2, created by the Backroom. And I will say it is quite the list. There's a lot of things I just don't understand the placement for. I won't say I hard disagree with certain parts, but I'm very confused. Like, I'd love to hear what they have to say about certain parts about it. And honestly, I want to hear your guys' opinions on it too. So feel free to tell me what you think of the tier list, or even just certain characters specifically about it in the comments below. Anyways, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with an SSF2 mod video soon. So look out for that, and I will see you in the next video.